Hey Nagani, welcome back to Irontown Talk, where we're continuing to focus on the Teal Lake shoreline health and climate adaptation vision. And so I don't have to keep saying all of that, we're just going to call it the Teal Lake Plan. However, please realize that this isn't a finalized plan. There is still a lot of steps along the way, such as more public input, grant applications, engineering, all that sort of thing. So to help us understand more of it, here's City Manager Nate Heffron.
So with that known, we're trying to make the east shoreline of Teal Lake more usable for folks, environmentally sound for folks, and we're trying to adapt some aesthetics to it, with trees and natural plantings and things of that sort, in order to give even better appeal to the lake. Now, if we decide we want to go through with some of these plans, one of the things we're going to have to do is look at what the suggestions were, and then we're going to take those suggestions and talk to the different people, talk to council members, talk to the community members, and we're going to say, hey, is this what we want it to look like, what they're suggesting?
Most of the major changes that this plan suggests will be studied further with more public input. But the city has already begun to engage in parts of this plan. And as you may have heard, the city has been awarded a grant of over $80,000 from the Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development for the Teal Lake Beach Expansion Project.
We have the Teal Lake Beach Expansion, which is one of the projects that we're currently vetting right now for cost estimates and how we want that to potentially look. That will go most likely and has had some interaction with our Parks and Rec Commission already. So we are starting to process a grant on that. The intention is to expand that beach from 10,000 square feet to 18,000 square feet roughly.
And these changes include a lot more than just beach sand.
We will be taking out a few trees because some of the trees that are there are dying, or ones that have been planted. They're just not the correct tree that should be there. And we will be replacing those trees, not in the same spot, but in other areas along the lake that make sense and will be more user-friendly and actually made for that type of a wet environment. So this beach itself will include potentially stairs that will lead down from the pathway that runs along the beach there on top of the hill, and also a ADA compliant ramp that will go down. In addition to that, we will have a special padding that actually will go out into the lake where you can take a wheelchair and potentially other apparatuses that help folks with disabilities to get out in the lake and enjoy the natural resource of swimming.
So since I live in Croy Street, one of the questions I had was, how will this affect the roadway along the lake?
So there's two projects that potentially could affect Croy Street to some degree. Right now we're working on a Safe Routes to Schools project, which potentially could provide up to $250,000 for the Lakeview School, Lakeview Elementary, to improve access by foot or bicycle by students to get to the school. So if we are able to get this funding, that will drastically and potentially change how traffic flows around the school area. Not so much on Croy Street per se, but in the parking lot area and other access streets that may be there. But we're more focused on some of the other activities that we could bring to the lake immediately for folks to start enjoying this natural resource.
And what about the no longer in use waterworks building?
I've inspected the property thoroughly. I've had other folks inspect it. Some engineers have reviewed it, but not officially. And it does appear that the building will probably have to be raised. But I say that with this. If we do happen to have to tear this property down, we are going to try to save some of the architecture from it and incorporate it inside the new structure that may happen there. We're just not sure how that's going to go yet.
And of course, these things.
there might be a desire to ripping those old ties out of there and putting something that's more environmentally sustainable there and lasts the test of time. So that could be potentially a retaining wall, it could be riprap, some type of rock. And the reason that would have to be put back in place is to prevent any further erosion to the shoreline.
Now there's a lot more to this plan, and I encourage you to check it out for yourself. Look for the link in the comments below. We'll talk more about the Teal Lake plan next time on Irontown Talk.